Twi'leks are a humanoid species with long, prehensile head tails called lekku, organs housing sections of the Twi'lek brain and specialized for communication through subtle motion. Twi'leks are native to the harsh world of Ryloth, a planet that has suffered from occupation by the Hutt Cartel in recent years. Twi'leks on Ryloth, not forced to work in the mines, are often taken as slaves, exported to markets throughout the Outer Rim. Millennia of dispersion into the wider galaxy, however, means that many Twi'leks have little or no sense of connection with their beleaguered homeworld. Twi'leks may be second only to humans in their ubiquity throughout known space. Nonetheless, many Twi'leks can't escape the shadows of slavery and the underworld. Often, they find work with the same pirates, slavers, and spice dealers who have traditionally oppressed their species. In Star Wars: The Old Republic, you can play any type of character as a Twi'lek, as species are not restricted to certain origin stories or combat styles in Star Wars: The Old Republic. However, you may need to unlock the Twi'lek species depending on what class you want to play as. With that said, certain Twi'lek colors are also restricted to certain factions, so if you want to be able to play a red or pink Twi'lek as a Jedi or as a smuggler, you will need to unlock the species first. Same things go if you want to play a Sith Inquisitor as a blue Twi'lek or light blue Twi'lek, you'd need to unlock it first. So now let's talk about unlocking the species or unlocking those additional colors. Free-to-play players will need to unlock Twi'leks before they create a Twi'lek character. Subscribers can automatically create a Jedi Knight, Jedi Consular, Smuggler, or Sith Inquisitor as a Twi'lek while they are subscribed. Once that character is created, they don't need to remain subscribed to continue playing the created character. Unlock option number 1. All players can unlock Twi'lek for all classes by purchasing the item Legacy Species Unlock Twi'lek from the Cartel Market with Cartel Coins or from the GTN with credits. The Cartel Market sells this unlock for 600 Cartel Coins. The price and availability on the GTN will change day to day and per server, but it is likely very expensive. This unlock is per server, not account-wide, and requires that you have an existing character of any type on that server who has reached level 10 and created a legacy. Unlock option number 2. Subscribers and preferred players who already have a Twi'lek character can play a Twi'lek on a Jedi Knight, Jedi Consular, Smuggler, or Sith Inquisitor, and then level them up to level 50, which will automatically unlock the Twi'lek option for all future characters including the Sith Warrior, Bounty Hunter, Imperial Agent, and Trooper. This unlock is per server, not account-wide. And unlock option number 3, probably my favorite and probably the best one if you have it available. Subscribers can also unlock Twi'lek for all origin stories by spending 1.5 million credits as part of the legacy system after they have reached level 10. Free-to-play and preferred players technically can too, but they have their credits capped at 1 million credits. This unlock is per server, not account-wide. Now let's talk about how Twi'leks fit in with every different type of class you can play them as. Twi'leks have been a part of the Jedi Order for many generations. On the homeworld of Tython, you will encounter a village of Twi'lek pilgrims who have settled without the Jedi's permission, and you'll need to mediate between the two groups if you play on a Jedi Consular or Jedi Knight. As for troopers, Twi'leks have been a part of the Republic military for many generations. It's not uncommon to see a Twi'lek soldier, especially due to the occupation of the Twi'lek homeworld of Ryloth. Smugglers are beholden to no traditions, and it would not be surprising to see a Twi'lek smuggler, especially as Twi'leks tend to fall in with the underworld crowd due to the enslavement of their homeworld. On the Imperial side, things get a little more interesting. The Sith Inquisitor starts off as a slave in the story, and Twi'leks being oppressed by the Empire is a common theme in the universe, especially because of their occupation of their homeworld. While it's uncommon to see an alien in the ranks of the Sith, either as a Sith Inquisitor or as a Sith Warrior, a prominent Sith named Darth Malgus has seized the opportunity to create a new empire, one that embraces alien cultures and is strengthened by diversity. On the other side of things on the Empire, bounty hunters carve their own paths, and it would not be surprising to see a Twi'lek bounty hunter, particularly because of what we mentioned before, with Twi'leks kind of falling into the underworld side of things a lot of the time. And lastly, the Imperial Agent. While it is uncommon to see an alien in the ranks of Imperial intelligence, the Minister of Intelligence recognizes the need to take advantage of an alien mind. We also talked about a prominent Sith named Darth Malgus has seized the opportunity to create the new empire and embraces alien cultures, especially Twi'leks. Next, I'll talk about the physical characteristics of Twi'leks. So first off, Twi'leks can be found in many different colors. According to some lore, the different colors found among the Twi'leks are indicators of clan and region of ancestry. But there isn't a ton of information about what color of Twi'lek comes from where. So in general, in the game Star Wars The Old Republic, light blue and blue are at first restricted to Republic classes, so the Jedi and the Smuggler. And the pink and red colors are restricted to the Sith Inquisitor, so they're more towards the Imperial side of things. And in between those, you've got green, yellow, and orange. Strangely, we do not see any purple Twi'leks in this game. However, it is a color that shows up in other Star Wars media. There also aren't specific names for each color, but blue Twi'leks are often known as Rudian, and red Twi'leks are known as Lethan. These names are based on the Ryloth language of Vril. As Twi'lek fall to the dark side, they have the option to turn on dark side corruption, where they begin to lose pigment in their skin and their eyes turn yellow, then orange. If you ever see a almost white Twi'lek in the game, it's because they're playing either a very light blue or the pink Twi'lek and they've lost all the pigment in their skin by going towards the dark side. The most visible characteristic of Twi'leks is the tentacles that they have on the top of their head, which, very important, are not called tentacles in the Star Wars universe. Twi'leks possess two prehensile tentacles, called their Chuchin or lekku, more commonly, that project from the back of their heads. These head tails serve as a second tongue by which they can communicate through signs and gestures. Many Twi'leks have natural patterns on their lekku, or their head tails. Others have given themselves tattoos to express their individuality or as part of Sith rituals. Some of these patterns or tattoos are restricted to specific factions until Twi'leks have been unlocked as a species. So the organic patterns can be similar to stripes or splotches. And there's a variety of tattoos. There's circular tattoos, striped tattoos, and kind of lightning bolt shaped tattoos. Next up, when creating your Twi'lek, you'll want to think about naming. You can choose any name you want for your Twi'lek character. You do not have to try and follow any type of conventions, as Twi'leks have spread far and wide across the galaxy, with some being given a traditional Twi'lek name, while others have been given a name traditional to their home planet, and others take on a code name or nickname. The old Twi'lek tradition of combining their child's given and family name can be seen on some Twi'leks in the game, though many others have a more standard name, and even two siblings in the same family might not even follow the same naming style. Many Twi'leks in the Old Republic era do not have a last name at all. If you want, you can use a generator to generate a name for your Twi'lek. Generators follow a set of rules to try and put together a name for you. If you want to learn more about naming your Twi'lek, visit the link in the description of this video for the written version of this guide. I've got a list of existing Twi'lek names as well as a link to a name generator that another player has created. Twi'leks are probably the most common uncommon species in Star Wars The Old Republic, as they are not available by default. There's obviously going to be a lot more humans, but Twi'leks are probably the one that I see around the most. And because of their popularity, there is a lot of famous Twi'leks compared to other species. So let's go over some of those. We've got Vet, is probably the most well-known and well-liked companion in the game, and she's a Sith warrior companion. We've got Zenith, is another Twi'lek companion who belongs to the Jedi Consular. There's Darth Atroxa, who shows up in the Knights of the Fallen Empire trailer. She's a really cool-looking red Twi'lek Sith. There's Alina Daru, who is Darth Malgus' lover from the Deceived novel and the trailer for Star Wars The Old Republic. We've got Mission Veo from Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic, the old single-player game, a major companion in the game. In that game, there's also Yuthura Ban, a Sith who has a very unique set of tattoos. And there's also the famous set of twin sons assassins Tira and Sira from Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic #2. In Star Wars The Old Republic, there's Vin Asara, a Twi'lek you'll meet very early on the Republic side in the Esseli's Flashpoint. There's Major Henri, a yellow Twi'lek in the Imperial military and a major kind of side character in the expansion stories. There's Paxton Ral, a Twi'lek companion that players can earn. And Yadira Ban, an enemy in the Black Talon Flashpoint, a Jedi that many players believe is Yuthura Ban's descendant. There's also lots of well-known Twi'leks in Star Wars media. We've got Ayla Secura, a Jedi. There's Hera Syndulla, a pilot from the Rebels series. There's Ula, a dancer. and Lin Mi, a dancer from the movies. There's Darth Talon, a well-known Twi'lek from the comics. As for male Twi'leks, they don't get the best rep in the movies. There's Orn Free Ta, a senator, Biv Fortuna, a major domo, and we're starting to see a few more Twi'leks in the Book of Boba Fett in the Cantina. That's most of what you need to know about Twi'leks. Now we're going to jump into some really intense lore. You do not need to know any of this. This is more for players who like to daydream, create stuff about their character, write, or roleplay. While they're easily recognizable as the species with the two tentacle things on the back of their head, Twi'leks make up the second most common species in the galaxy, and they have the lore, background, and history that goes with that. The homeworld of the Twi'lek is Ryloth, in the Outer Rim territories, but it is enslaved by the Hutt Cartel. While most Twi'lek can trace their heritage back to Ryloth, many are not born there. Some having left their homeworld to explore the galaxy and find trade, others fled the planet to escape as refugees, and after many generations of slavery, Twi'leks can be found as slaves and former slaves across the galaxy. Ryloth is a harsh planet. One side of the planet always faces the sun, and the other is always in darkness. Dry, rocky landscapes of deserts, mountain ranges with mist-covered peaks, shadowy valleys alternated with snowy wastes make up the Twi'lek people resilient, and its most valuable export is Ryl, a type of hallucinogenic spice mined and then sold in the intergalactic black market. A long-standing member of the Republic, Ryloth is of little intrinsic value during the wars of this time, and it is largely ignored by the various militaries. Though Twi'leks joined the fight on various sides during the wars of the Old Republic period, officially Ryloth is a Republic world. The planet's allegiance holds very little sway over its citizens, however. Important and influential Twi'leks joined the ranks of the Republic, the Jedi, the Sith, the Exchange, the Gennahardan, and dozens of other organizations. This led to significant internal strife on Ryloth, since the government's unwillingness to rein in its own citizens led to conflict among the Twi'leks. One family might support the Republic, but another might have a son studying at the Sith Academy on Korriban, creating divided loyalties within communities. Ryloth is on the brink of civil war throughout the Old Republic time. Though disagreements between individuals, families, and settlements rarely come to violence, skirmishes break out from time to time. The Twi'lek clans are hard-pressed to keep the peace. The inhabitants of Ryloth seethe as ideological differences between neighbors create an environment of dislike, distrust, and occasionally hatred that leads to violent outbursts. Riots are not uncommon on Ryloth during this time, though the clans manage to stop them before they do too much harm. As we have lore about Twi'leks from multiple different sources, at the moment, the harsh world of Ryloth has suffered from occupation by the Hutt Cartel in recent years. Ryloth is an Outer Rim world located in the Corellian Run. Its seasons are violent and its environments extreme, ranging from snowy wastelands to scorching deserts. The majority of the native Twi'leks live within a narrow temperate band. For millennia, Ryloth's primary export has been slaves. As a consequence, Twi'leks can be found throughout the galaxy, and many have never visited the Twi'lek homeworld. Their native technology is primitive by galactic standards, and while they haven't developed their own means of space travel, they are a common sight on many Outer Rim planets. As for their language, Ryl is the native tongue of Ryloth, yet there are very few Twi'leks who cannot speak Basic fluently. What separates Twi'leks from other species is their second, non-verbal language, called lekku, or Twi'leki. In everyday conversation, Twi'leks add texture and emphasis to their speech by moving and twitching their head tails. If privacy is necessary, Twi'leks can converse in complete silence, using only the gestures of their head tails to pass on complicated information. Twi'leks entered galactic society soon after the medicinal and recreational values of the mineral Ryl were discovered. At that time, Twi'leks had no native spacefaring capability. Partly because of this limitation, their world soon became dominated by the Hutts, who seized control of Ryl mining and production. In short order, this led to the Twi'leks' involvement in the slave trade. Twi'lek society is tightly linked to an ancestral structure of clans. In the lack of a central planetary government, each city is instead ruled by a head clan made up of 5 Twi'lek males. Each group of leaders is born to assume this role. Notably, the head clan serves as a city's leadership until a member of the clan dies, at which point the surviving members are deposed so that the next generation can assume the leadership roles. As these roles are hereditary, there are strong rivalries surrounding each appointment. Family is everything in Twi'lek society. The government on Ryloth is an alliance of head clans, each of which control a small town or larger districts in the city. A family's 5 most important Twi'leks lead their respected head clans, with the power of influence radiating down the bloodline. According to tradition, when one leader of the head clan dies, the 4 remaining members must take exile in the sun-baked bright lands where the vicious Twi'leks roam. In practice, however, clan leaders find new and cunning ways to subvert exile. The clan system has stratified Twi'lek society into castes. Twi'leks at the bottom of a bloodline are considered of the low birth caste and used as chattel in the slave trade. Twi'lek leaders exhibit disgust at any accusation of slavery and deny that they would ever put their own people in bondage, shifting the blame to other clans. Nonetheless, nearly every clan engages in contracted indenturehood. Much of the galaxy finds Twi'leks and slavery to be synonymous. To many Twi'leks' shame, slavery is one of their homeworld's chief exports, and far too many of their fellows are complicit in this reprehensible business. Many Twi'leks are born into slavery. Some become slaves far from Ryloth, while others are sold into slavery at a young age by their homeworld. Even for those who escape, their time spent in captivity often defines their lives. Some former slaves revel in their freedom, while others embark upon personal crusades to free others from such a thankless existence. Twi'leks are generally regarded as being cunning and manipulative, conducting subterfuge within their clans and in the service of other causes. However, they are not particularly confrontational, preferring to avoid taking a stand on an issue whenever possible. The Twi'leks are among the most prominent non-human species in the galaxy. They are expert bargainers, sly at reading other species, and using cunning to get what they want. Twi'leks are calculating, pragmatic, and charismatic people. Generally speaking, they try to avoid being swept up in other beings' troubles, preferring instead to duck into the shadows and wait out large conflicts. From a safe hiding place, they can observe and plan and prepare to profit from the outcome. Though their home planet of Ryloth is located in the Outer Rim, Twi'leks can be found on many worlds throughout the galaxy due to their enterprising nature and the effects of slavery. Given their linguistic talents, natural cunning, and social aptitude, Twi'leks fit well into managerial, political, and leadership positions. Lesser clan members, unhappy with their status, often leave Ryloth to strike out on their own, driven with an entrepreneurial spirit to start their own businesses or run their own crime syndicates. Shy, cunning beings, Twi'leks frequently consort with people from various walks of life, including legitimate merchants, temperamental mercenaries, dangerous pirates, and wanted slavers. Their entrepreneurial spirit frequently leads them to positions of influence, and Twi'lek corporate executives and ambassadors are no less common than unscrupulous Twi'lek freighter captains and crime lords. Twi'lek adventurers typically leave Ryloth to explore the Outer Rim and seek fame and fortune. They prefer to work behind the scenes. Few Twi'leks can stand the regimented lifestyle of the soldier. Many wind up in business, whether legal or illegal, performing as entertainers, or even serving as diplomats. The Force is strong in this species, and some Twi'leks gravitate towards Jedi studies. Though many Twi'leks are Republic citizens or Imperial slaves, the largest amount of Twi'leks in the galaxy resides within Hutt Cartel space in the Old Republic era. The Twi'leks have an unfortunate association with the underworld, which follows generations of oppression. Some Twi'leks find work with the same criminals who treat their people so poorly. For many of the species, there is nothing more repulsive than a Twi'lek pirate delivering a hold full of Twi'lek slaves to a Hutt's Twi'lek advisor. Twi'leks do not profess any particular faith in the Force in a religious manner, nor do they have any native Force traditions. However, conversations between Twi'leks who use their lekku are believed to have spiritual connotations. Some scholars of Jedi lore believe that the lekku have a degree of inherent Force sensitivity. This suggests that Twi'leks could have at least a limited connection to the Force, though they may not necessarily recognize it. Like any member of the Jedi Order, consulars can hail from any planet and Force-sensitive species in the galaxy. Most consulars are humans, sabraks, and Twi'leks. Any being with the capacity for cunning and devotion to the dark side may become an Inquisitor after surviving the Sith trials of Korriban. Humans and Sith purebloods were long the most common to ascend to power, but since aliens and slaves were allowed into the Sith Academy, Twi'leks, sabraks, and Ratataki have all risen from nothing to become Sith Inquisitors. Charm is a fundamental skill for smugglers. It helps to have a face people think they can trust, or at least one that can sell a cargo hold of substandard blasters to trigger-happy freedom fighters. Many successful freelance entrepreneurs are humans, cyborgs, or near-human species such as Twi'leks, as their facial expressions give them an edge in negotiations. This may also explain why certain smugglers seem to have a romantic fling awaiting them in every spaceport. Twi'lek dance is regarded as one of the galaxy's most graceful and sensual art forms. Unfortunately, it has also led to many Twi'leks, especially females, being sold as slave dancers. However, some famous Twi'lek warriors and scoundrels alike started their life as slaves before clawing their way into fame and glory. In Star Wars: The Old Republic, you'll encounter Kalikori Village, a Twi'lek pilgrim village on the planet of Tython, and there's some wonderful lore surrounding that. Tython is home to a small settlement of Twi'lek pilgrims united by their belief in a humble lifestyle and the authority of their matriarchs. Although their numbers are few, the pilgrim movement goes back almost 2 decades, and until their recent arrival on Tython, they had never possessed a permanent home, nor escaped persecution. The founding pilgrim matriarch gained her followers while serving at a refugee settlement catering to escapees from Ryloth, the enslaved Twi'lek homeworld. The refugees listened to the matriarch's stories about a set of ancient texts she had discovered on an alien world, which urged simplicity, devotion to family and faith in a spiritual mother. But while some Twi'leks gladly joined the matriarch, others saw her as a cult leader taking advantage of the desperate. The pilgrims left the settlement and traveled to one Twi'lek settlement after another, gaining in numbers but always driven off. Fleeing into hyperspace after years of wandering, the pilgrims at last arrived on Tython. The Jedi, only recently arrived themselves, were astonished that the pilgrims could stumble upon the secret Jedi homeworld so easily. The matriarch saw the pilgrims' discovery of an inhabitable planet as destiny. Since then, the pilgrims have done everything possible to make a permanent home of Tython, building their community and creating a new traditions. Whether the movement will survive in the face of the Flesh Raider danger is an open question. Named after an old Twi'lek word for beginning, Kalikori Village is a settlement in the Tythonian Hills founded by a group of Twi'lek pilgrims fleeing persecution. The pilgrims asked the Republic for permission to settle on Tython but were refused. Defying the ruling, the pilgrims founded a small camp that gradually grew into Kalikori Village. The village matriarch's home is built on the site of the original landing. Kalikori is technically an illegal settlement without protection under Republic law. As the village grew, boasting fertile fields and its own irrigation system, the Twi'lek pilgrims realized they were expanding into Flesh Raider territory and have been fighting off the creatures ever since without outside help. Despite the anger of the villagers at the Jedi who have abandoned them, many Padawans traveled to Kalikori Village to seek the matriarch's blessing or to learn about the pilgrims' teachings. I hope you enjoyed this really in-depth look into the Twi'lek species, especially in the Old Republic era, as there's a whole bunch more lore that comes later on between both the movies and the books and the TV shows. If you want to show your support for all the Old Republic projects I get up to, visit Swtorista.com/support, and if you want more Star Wars: The Old Republic videos to show up on your YouTube homepage, subscribe to this channel. And as always, may the Force be with you.